How are you all? What have we been talking about? Bible stories. What was the last one we talked about? I think we talked about Noah's Ark, and then we talked about the Tower of Babel, right? With languages and so forth, which means that we get to Abraham. Now, who knows about Abraham? Raise your hand if you've heard of Abraham before. Okay, we should have more hands. Alrighty. Up to the point of Abraham, after the Tower of Babel, everyone was speaking their own languages, and they're going and building cities and farming animals and raising crops and getting rich or getting poor and doing all of these sorts of things. But nobody is worshiping God. Nobody even knows who God is. Until one day, a man who lives on a river in a desert in what we call Iraq now hears a voice, and the voice says, "Abram, get up and take your wife and everything that you own and leave. Go away from your father's house and go into a land that I'll show you." What would you do if you had a dream like that? Probably get up, drink some holy water, and say, "Oh Lord, give me sleep without dreams, because this is crazy." Right? Even so, that's a weird dream. A voice says, "Get up and leave." Would you get up and leave? What would your parents say? You're crazy. So this is what happens to Abraham. And as time goes on, because he does it, I guess it was a very, very real dream. He gets up and he leaves. He crosses the desert, he goes to another city. And then he hears the voice of God again. And God says, "Okay, travel into the land of Canaan." At least now he has a destination. Before then, he's just traveling. I don't know where I'm going. God said he'd show me. What do you think, Isabella? Does that make sense? You're going somewhere, you don't even know where? Those of you who are learning to drive, the kids who are learning to drive now, can I see hands? Right. It's kind of a dangerous idea, right? You leave the driveway and you don't know where you're going. It's cool, kind of fun. You feel free, but what about when you run out of gas? What if you get lost? It's complicated. But this is what Abraham does. His name isn't even Abraham then, it's Abram. Or as we say it in the Greek and the Hebrew, Avram. Right? Avram. Abram. So he gets up, he leaves, and God tells him now finally to go to Canaan. And he says, "And you'll be a stranger there for a while. And after that, your children and your children's children and your descendants are going to spend time in Egypt. And they'll be slaves. But after that, I'll bring them out. I'll deliver them, and I will give them this land that you're living in." Have you ever heard the phrase, the promised land? Right. That's the promise that makes it the promised land. That's important. Abram doesn't know what's going on. He's just hearing voices. But the voice says, "Go to this place, and I promise you, you will have children, and your children will inherit this land." So that's why it's a promise. Now we're going to wrap up here, and we'll talk more about Abram next time. But first we have to say that he becomes Abraham, because Abraham means father. It's like calling someone Baba, right? But Abraham means father of many. So, tonolon, babaton panton, right? How's my Greek? You're looking at me like I'm speaking craziness. So, I'm not sure. So, God tells him he will become the father of many nations. He tells him that because of him and his descendants, everybody in the whole world will be blessed. And that's important, because who is descended from Abraham? No, not everybody. But one important person. God is talking to Abraham because he's starting to get things ready for him to come into the world. There has to be a people that are looking for a Messiah. And that's why God tells Abraham, you will be a father of many nations, and because of you, everybody in the world will be blessed. That happens through Jesus. But that's the promise that comes to Abraham, and through Abraham, it comes to us. Because are you descended from Abraham? Probably not. Are you descended from Abraham? Probably not. Unless you're Jewish, you're probably not descended from Abraham. Or Arab, I should say. The Arabs are also descended from Abraham. But all of us are blessed because we're Christians. And all the nations of the earth that we are blessed because of Abraham and the promise that he believed when he picked up and left that hometown in southern Iraq and traveled to Canaan. So, what's important is to remember, sometimes God's promises take a long time to be fulfilled, but they always come true. And that's what's important. With that, let's stand up and take communion.